My guest today is a serial entrepreneur with an undying affection for culinary arts. As a bartender, she launched So Mixxy, a boutique mixology company offering unique mixology experiences, both virtually and in person. And it's been an uphill battle from there. I won't even call it a battle. It's just been uphill. We're going to name that and claim that. She's won several awards over the last couple of years with her unique cocktail creations, and I'm eager for you to get to know her, her brilliance, and all things So Mixxy. Please welcome to Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff, Nicole Tucker.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being a guest on Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff. I am so excited to have you here. So what my audience doesn't know is I met Ty back in December, early December-ish. We were both doing segments on Atlanta and Company. If you follow me on Instagram, if you follow Ty Nicole Tucker on Instagram, you probably saw her wonderful, brilliant appearance on Atlanta and Company here in Atlanta, WXIA. And the moment I met her, I was like, oh my gosh, when I start this podcast back up, I need to have you on so you can teach us how to make some things and just chit chat and talk. She's an absolute star, ladies and gentlemen, and I can't wait for you to get to know her and all things So Mixxy. Hi, welcome.
Hello. You have me blushing over here. Thank you. That was an incredible introduction.
Well, I mean, you're an incredible human. So, I mean, just doing giving what it's supposed to give. I'm just really excited, to have you on because, I like cocktails. I think I told you when I met you, I'm the queen of margaritas. I've given myself that name because when I tell you I love a good margarita. It's my favorite drink in the whole world. I've just in the last year been starting to do some spicy margaritas. I really like spicy.
Okay.
So when you come back, we'll fool around with some margaritas. But today, I wanted to focus our cocktail attention on everything So Mixxy and your brand's partnership with Uncle Nearest.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm excited to hear about that. So before we get started, I want to just kind of get our audience to get to know you and quite frankly, me to get to know you a little bit better too. How did you get started in bartending? Because I know this wasn't a first career for you, right?
No, this is a second life, if you will, at a different career. I attended Howard University, so go Bison, HU,
Yes.
And I majored in business insurance. So actually my entire career up until I turned 30, I was a manager in insurance. I handled catastrophe claims. So let's say natural disasters happen. I was the one that my team and I would go out, we'd be deployed, and we'd literally come in, assess your damage, cut you a check. That was my career for 7 years. My mom passed in 2016, and for me, that kind of just shook my core foundation of everything up, and I recognized that life is super short, and I didn't want to spend it doing things that didn't really fulfill me any longer. And so I decided to go back to school, decided to get my MBA, but in that, I moved to Europe, and I got my MBA abroad. And so the interim between me leaving corporate America in November 2018 to me departing to go to Madrid in July of 2019, I didn't want to go back and get another corporate job. So I just picked up bartending, literally just as an interim gig to make some money quick, be behind the bar at some of my favorite spots in Atlanta, have my friends come hang out with me, and we have a good time. That was literally my mindset going into it. I had no idea.
And it's a low pressure situation, it kind of feels like so much less stress than like corporate America, so much less emotional stress, because what you were doing with insurance, that sounds heavy to me. Yes, you're helping people get back on their feet and cutting that check, but you're also having to see a lot of devastation and deal with the heaviness of their trauma.
Yeah, and I think for that, to hit that nail on the head for sure, me dealing with, like I said, the trauma of losing my mother, I couldn't take on anybody else's trauma like that. Like it just became too heavy for me. And self-care is important. Mental health is important. I did a lot of deep diving, but for me, I think I needed to get away, and me going abroad and trying something new, being in a different space, that was the breakaway that I needed. That was kind of that clarity that I needed to get out of the rut that I felt like I was in, that was sucking me down. And so, catastrophe claims was super rewarding. That was probably the most rewarding career I've ever had. I love giving back. I love finding ways to help these people from these big time corporations and make sure they're getting money to be able to repair their homes and become whole again. So that was super rewarding. I didn't hate that job. It was just, it wasn't fulfilling me any longer. It wasn't where I wanted to be any longer. So bartending was fun. I got to let my hair down. Being in Atlanta, you meet so many unique people, from celebrities, right, to regular Joe Schmoes that just have so much life and personality. And, you know, I really enjoyed that side of it, but I had no idea. If you were to ask me back then, if this is where I was going to be right now, the answer would be absolutely not. So the journey to get here has been super interesting. So went to get my MBA, and the program that I was in was an accelerator program. So it was built for entrepreneurs. They basically put you in this incubator style program. We competed, we did pitch presentations and all of that. And the business that my roommate and business partner at the time were in was in beauty tech. And we ended up, we did very well with our accelerator program. We ended up bringing it back because of COVID. Our program went fully virtual. We completed the program, but then after that, once things kind of calmed down in Europe, we were able to come back to the States, and we launched our brand there, or here in Atlanta, but it just didn't have the traction that we needed and wanted for the business. So in that kind of time frame, I went back to So Mixxy. I had already started a page, and what I did is literally cleaned off this bar, and I started playing with syrups and just like getting back into the craft side of things and making my own recipes, putting my own twist to different classic recipes. And then that's how I started coming up with my syrups. So that's where that was my first initial launch of the brand, was coming up and curating these unique syrups that can go into your recipes. And then from there, I started teaching classes virtually because everyone was still inside. I didn't want to go and be in an actual bar yet. It was still 2020. So I was like, no, we're going to just ease into it, you know, right? So I started teaching classes virtually. And then from there, things just kind of took off for me, both virtually and then during the in-person events.
That's amazing. So, like, obviously, everyone, I think last season of Intimate Details with Dr. Tip, we talked really heavily about the pivot that we all kind of had to make as a result of the pandemic in so many different industries. And your story is very much this pivot at a lot of different turns, pre-pandemic, and then obviously post. Like, I'm blessed enough to still have both of my parents, but I can only imagine like losing your mom just probably shook you to your core and just caused you to rethink this thing called life and everything, because you don't at that particular time, 2016, you don't know this world without her.
Correct. You know, you feel lost. And my mom was young. My mom wasn't even 50. She was 48.
Ooh,
and she was
I'm
diagnosed.
48.
And when you really, like, now I'm 35, right? So now I'm like, well, that's 13 years from now. But it happened so quickly. She was diagnosed with ovarian cancer around this time in 2016. And she passed away in March, the end of March of that same year. So it was a very quick, super traumatic experience. I'm the oldest of 5. So even having to, you know, deal with my siblings, and like they're still in high school, some of them in college. So for all of us losing that person, that core foundational person, that was heavy for everyone.
And so fast. You didn't even have time to prepare to grieve, let alone deal with the aftermath. So I can only imagine. So what do you think? Do you feel like I always say when people make these big like transitions, I won't say always, but a lot of times we're running away from something or running to something. And you took yourself across the globe To
It
Spain.
was
So would you say
time.
you were running away from all that was happening, or you were running to, or both?
I would say it's a mixture of both, but it was me running away from all of that. I think that, so I left in 2019. I made the decision in 2018. So I
Mm-hmm.
think within those 2 years, I tried to get a new job. I went into management. I really did try to stay with insurance, thinking it was just me and I just needed something new. But
Mm-hmm.
truly, it was me leaving Atlanta, leaving the States, leaving a lot of the family issues that kind of surfaced after my mom passed, leaving all of that behind and going out on my own journey to just really clear my head and find out
Yeah.
really what I wanted to do. And with even COVID happening, I was like, at the time, I was so upset because Europe shut down way more than the United States. So we were
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
literal lockdown, couldn't leave the house, my
You
plans of
know,
travel just
we
didn't
were
happen as
playing over
much.
here, to be
They,
honest. We were playing. We thought it was a
we,
joke. We were like not taking it
yeah,
serious.
we literally would get it. My roommate and I would get a ticket if we were caught outside together, even going down to the street to the grocery store. They were like, no, one person from each household at a time. So we were wearing gloves, masks, like it was so serious over there.
Yeah.
And we're watching the States just like go
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, we were out of
All of
order.
the protests and the demonstrations going on, people outside and stuff. So it was a very interesting time, but it also forced me to sit down. And I
Yeah.
remember being in the house, like creating a list of what are the things that I'm really good at? How can I hone in on my natural skills and abilities? What do I want out of a business? And you know, just kind of going through that. And I go back and I look at that list now because everything that I put on that list, I'm able to do now with So Mixxy. And
That's
so
awesome.
while I ran away from some things that I was going through, it gave
Yeah.
me the opportunity to kind of find myself a little bit more, but then
Hmm.
also kind of like put pen to paper, feet to pavement, and be able to execute on some of the ideas that
Yeah.
I've had. And so now that caused me to run into kind of really right now my dream job. And that's being able to, curate, to host, to teach, to educate, to work with brands, to work with high profile clientele, like all of those things I'm able to do. And no, it's not perfect. No, we're not the biggest right now, but that's what we're setting ourselves up to become.
Yeah.
It's been a very interesting but fruitful journey that I'm
Yeah.
super excited to share with your audience and with the world. So
Yeah. I want to tell you just said something that I think is fascinating, and I think that our listeners would love to understand more about, and that is your process for getting your shit together.
what a process.
Yes, like writing things down. And I think, you said it just off the cuff, like this is just kind of what I did. But I think I want you to go through that just a little bit. Not telling us all your secrets, of course, but just go through that a little bit to like, if someone has an idea, if someone wants to grow their
Mm.
own version of their dream, what can they do to make that happen? How do we formulate our plan? How did you formulate your plan? What did you write down? What types of things and ideas did you write down in order to get to this point? How'd you do it?
Yeah. So what I did is I started with overall, what would my ideal occupation be? Because at this time I was in school,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm thinking of
Mm-hmm.
all the possibilities of applying for corporate jobs and what fields those are in. So for
Yeah.
me, I had to start with literally the basics. What every day, if I have to wake up and go to someone's job, what are the things that I would need to do that would make me happy and to feel fulfilled?
Yes.
And those things that I wrote down were a lot of performative adjectives like hosting or curating. Like those are things that naturally are my strong suit. I can speak well. I grew up giving oratorical competitions, winning those. So for me, and it sounds vain, but you have to be able to feel comfortable with yourself to know what your your key traits and attributes are. So I had to
Mm.
drill down into that. I had to think about obviously COVID and what that's going to look like too. So knowing and having to play with the idea that are we ever going to go back to doing things in person, at
Right.
that time.
Right.
So How can I communicate whatever I'm going to do? How can I be comfortable using virtual technologies and doing that? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking about me. So for me, it really was, what do I love to do? I love to host. I love to host in person. I love to host things virtually because I've done that on IG Live or using these whatever
Right, right.
technologies we had then. I love to make people have a good time or allow people to have a good time, entertaining. I like to curate. I love to cook, but I don't want to cook for people. So it really came down to like, okay, you like to curate. What do
Right.
you like to curate? Experiences. If you like to do something in the kitchen and you want to have a product, what exactly is that going to be that it won't stress you out, but you can still have fun doing it and creating it, you know?
That part.
And so
Not
for me,
stress
like,
you out, but like you can
yeah,
do it. Yes.
because if you're going to do this every day, you have to know that you, if this is your business, you are going to be the one doing this every single day, regardless if anyone else comes in and clocks in for you. It's always going to come back to
Right.
you at the end of the
Right.
day. So I
Right.
think it was just me kind of going through all of those things and really understanding what my end goal was. And my end goal for
Mm-hmm.
me is I want to have a karaoke bar and grill on the beach where I can go grab the mic when I want to, perform
Yeah.
my favorite song, get off, go home, and and the bar is still running. But that's my ultimate goal. Well, how do you from there? How do you get there?
Right.
Backtrack. What are those steps that will help you build? And I think we all suffer from imposter syndrome at times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
understanding, like, you got some things you just have to be able to understand about yourself and that you can do it, but maybe building those, taking those larger goals and putting them in smaller goals so that
Amen.
you can check it off. And then now you're feeling more accomplished and you can keep going through your list. That truly is what helped me to kind of like power through and like gain the confidence and momentum to keep building and nicking away at this dream. Because
I love
again,
that.
everything changes in a moment. You have to be able
Mm-hmm.
to pivot and change and adjust and adapt to whatever it is going on around you in order to make your business successful.
I think that's so smart. And I talked about something very similar in, I think, our first episode back in January. Um, the beginning of the year, we're all doing vision boards and setting our goals. And one of the reasons why we don't necessarily stick with it, or some of those goals, we don't attain some of those goals by the end of the year, is because we are setting our expectations way high. And it's not that you shouldn't set high expectations for yourself, because that dream that you have of the bar on the beach, which, by the way, I would like an invite. I'd love to be there for that. I'm here for it. You had me at beach, the karaoke bar at the beach. I'm there. But the thing is, like, we will say, oh, I want this karaoke bar at the beach, but never set the milestone goals to get there.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have to set those smaller, more attainable, quicker
Mm-hmm.
to attain goals so that we have some success at
Yeah.
smaller levels and build up to that much bigger goal. You can't just set out to do that one thing without setting the other ones, because when you start to chip away at those smaller goals, that's building your muscle and creating a system for you to actually be able to thrive where you want to. And if you don't do that, then we end up feeling like the whole thing is a flop. Like, I can't even get. And by the way, the thing is about those goals, sometimes we set those larger goals with the expectation that that is the end all be all and that is where I want to be.
Yeah.
And the reality is, sometimes we find something else on the journey that is so perfect
Exactly.
and so
Exactly.
heartfelt. And if we are just focused on that end goal and have tunnel vision is great, right? But other
Mm-hmm.
things happen along the way throughout that tunnel that could be what we actually need. This is what we want. Other things may come in that are what we need. So just being open to the whole process and definitely setting ourselves up for success along the way by setting more attainable bite-sized goals. I
Yeah.
feel like it's key. So I love that message. So let's go back to So Mixxy. How'd you come up with So Mixxy? Because it sounds like, just based on what you said, you had started toying with the idea of So Mixxy before going to Spain, and then after coming back and not having the success you thought you were going to have with the one project, you kind of started to retool So Mixxy. So how did we come up with So Mixxy?
So the name So Mixxy started because my roommate that lived with me here in Atlanta at the time, she was also moving to Europe. We were kind of like on this voyage together type of thing, but separate, right?
Yeah.
So she was moving to Berlin, Germany, and we were trying to get rid of, I knew that I was moving too, so we were trying to get rid of like our clothes, our wardrobe, right? And we had very different styles. So we kind of just came up with So Mixxy because we were so mixy. Like, hey, this is our closet. We had things on Poshmark, you know, on Instagram. We were selling things, whatever. So we came up with the name from there. She moves, and then I start bartending, and I was like, hey, actually, I can just use So Mixxy later on because I had a concept of like creating a group of star tenders. That's what I call my bartenders now. I had that vision of like putting something together, but it wasn't necessarily bartenders. It was more of like, and I hate to say it like this, but this is basically how the concept was, a team of like, oh my God, I cannot say this, but
just say it. It's a safe space.
Like, but not sexual escorts in a sense.
I got you.
Just like a group of beautiful women that were needed in that time in the bar industry to help make your section look good. That was the initial thought, but I never really had time to bring it to life because I had such a short interim of being in that bar industry before I left. So that's the initial thought that I had that I would play with later on. These syrups, these kits, none of that was in the thought, okay? So that was where I left it. We had a So Mixxy Instagram page, and the last thing was really me just being like, doing like motivational messages because I was kind of building just traction on the page. I did not touch So Mixxy from August 2019 until December 2020. I did not do anything So Mixxy related with that at all. Again, my mind, once I moved, was going to school. We built out a completely different business model and scope of something else. We came back. And then at that time, we came back in August of 2020. We did some launch events and it was called Becca Beauty, but we did some launch events for Becca here in Atlanta. And in that, we wanted to have cocktails for the event. And I was the one that was curating the cocktails. I was the one.
Right.
That
you were
exactly
the bartender.
I was the bartender. So from there, I was like, hey, this actually is, I could do this. Like, I wonder what, I'm starting to ask myself, my wheels are spinning now. Starting to see like, okay, maybe there is a niche for this. I wonder what, I wonder who, I wonder how. That's kind of how it started. I got COVID in October. And that forced me to sit down in my home, could not leave because I had other people living here at the time. I used to rent my rooms out. So I've always had some entrepreneurial things. So I had to stay in my room, the door closed, not communicating with anyone. And I just started writing ideas down. I just started writing recipes down. I just started writing this concept of, because we were doing something subscription based, I use that same business model for So Mixxy just to see like, again, a what if, a how could we get this? And then once I was able to come out of my room, I came down and I made my first syrup from scratch. I had like researched all these things and it's like, oh, I want to make.
Busy in that room.
Oh my God, I love whiteboards. I have a whiteboard in every room in my house. You never know when a good idea can come to fruition. But
there's another tip. There's another tip. Keep a whiteboard handy.
Yeah, literally. It's so easy. You can, came down and I had this list of these cocktails and I literally just started making Instagram videos of me. It was Christmas time by now. It's like holiday season. So Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I just started doing the 12 days of Christmas cocktails. And every day I would post a new reel that I've done. My face wasn't even in it. It was literally me at this bar and this is all you could see,
but that's fine.
Quality. Terrible quality now that I look back at it, it makes me cringe, but I did it. I got good feedback. I posted my Calendly the end of December. I got my first client a week later in January, and I was like, whoa. Like, and the lady just booked me that day. Like, she booked me in the morning and needed me that night. That was like how quick it happened.
Wow.
That client has put me on her family, her friends, her coworkers. And so that one client, with me just putting my pricing up and scheduling, my calendar for availability up, really propelled me into getting back into the in-person. So I was already doing virtual, but that was kind of like my dual, because I have to have something that's hybrid. In this day and time, you have to have something that's hybrid. So that was that, to be honest, that was my start with the syrups, forcing me to sit down and come up with a concept. And that's where we have the mix kits, that client booking me for the in-person. And then from there, once I got an idea of how each of them can be run and handled, it was like cake. It was like a cakewalk. And then just from there, figuring out what worked. Am I charging too low? Which I was. My prices got to go up. What are the expenses? And then just kind of building out the business from there.
I want to make sure we bullet point this. There were so many things that could have held you back from moving forward. Even, I think we put so much thought into even our appearance, how we show up, what we post on Instagram. If anybody is anything like me, I'm sure you're this way too. I got so much content on my phone, and I agonize over what to post. Like if we take pictures with friends, like we're taking 100 pictures and we may only post one or two. God bless us if we can get the carousel going. When was the last time we did that? So it's so hard to do that. And so you just, even though you cringe, and I have those videos too. If I was to scroll back in my feed, I'd be like, oh my God, that looks so bad, looking at the quality of where we are now, right? But just throwing caution to the wind. I'm going to make these drinks. I'll be way up here. You won't see my face. But the content got out there, and I guess it just shows it does not have to be perfect. You just got to put it out there, because if this is what you are supposed to do, whether it's this industry or another, if this is what you are supposed to do, your people will come to you. There's somebody, I feel like we're always so second guessing ourselves so much that that saying about you don't want to block your blessings. I think that sometimes when we withhold our purpose and our gifts, we're blocking somebody else's blessing too. Yeah. That it's not just our blessing. Like someone else is waiting on us to do the thing that we are called to do, but because we're second guessing it so much, because we're fearful, because we want it to be perfect, and we don't want to rush to put it out. We don't want to put out crap either.
Yeah,
Let's be clear. But sometimes we are keeping someone else from being blessed in a way because we are trying to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. Sometimes we just got to put it out there, and the blessings will start coming back to us as your client did. Oh, okay, I want you. This is what I was looking for. I've been searching. Who knows how long this person had been on Instagram just to scroll and trying to find someone for her event.
Exactly.
Yes. And then found you, and it's just this is my person. This is who I'm looking for. Sign me up. The minute. Yes, sign you up. So I love it. So where is So Mixxy now? What are you doing? What are your products? Where can we get the things?
Yeah, so you can get all of our products and services. You can book us through our website, www.somixxy.com. And so what we offer like a one-stop shop for all things mixology. So from your products, your mixers, your non-alcoholic mixers, your barware. I see you have a full set over there, so we don't even need to go over that for you. But for those of you at home,
this is a gift, a husband's gift, and I just stole it. I just hijacked it. But fine. How can we support? Tell me what you got. Show me what you got.
Our biggest, I guess our most popular item that we sell is our mix kit. All right. So you get a box, and it has at least all the ingredients for you to craft at least 9 cocktails or mocktails. No alcohol. We like to just allow you to
Right.
have and choose whichever alcohol brand spirit that you prefer. But inside, you're going to have 2 to 3 syrups, and we have 5 different ones that are our specialty. So this is our lavender. We have our cinnamon demerara that we're going to use today in our old fashioned and our espresso martini. We have a hibiscus. We have a jalapeno agave that I know you're going to love. So I have to send you some of that for sure.
I need
Definitely
that.
great for spicing up your margaritas.
I need that.
And then we have lavender, hibiscus, cinnamon. Oh, and a rosemary and sage honey. So we have 5
that sounds
syrups.
good.
Always working on developing more, but right now those are our 5 SKUs. And so in the box, you'll get 2 to 3 syrups. You'll get recipe cards that detail all of the measurements, all of the ingredients that you're going to need, and the process of you crafting those cocktails or mocktails. And that's our star. So anytime we do our virtual mixology happy hours, that's what we call them with our corporate clients, this is what everyone receives. So you'll book us for an hour or 90 minutes. 90 minutes usually has trivia added to it, so we can have a little bit more fun based on your theme. Each attendee will receive a kit, and that way they have all of the ingredients that they'll need. And when we get on the call, I walk them through how to craft each drink.
This is brilliant. I love this.
Yeah.
Oh, then what a fun work event. Instead of having, because let's be honest. Do we really want to go out and hang out with our coworkers afterwards?
No.
Do we really? No.
You don't have to worry about driving. You can drink responsibly.
Yes.
And include a lot of my clients have their spouse or some of their family in the background, so they're making double the drinks, passing one off to the left or the right. So it's super engaging, and majority of my clients are corporations. So really, when I started the virtual for the full year of 2021, I was mainly doing virtual events only. And then
we were drinking. We were drinking.
Drinking, okay?
Yeah.
The mixer, the ready to drink beverage market is on a huge incline. So for me, doing that research and understanding my market, that was the lane that I'm like, let's stick with this. So I also do, in addition to the syrups, we also do pre-made mixers. So I might have, I have an apple cider spice type of thing. So that features the cinnamon syrup, but also apple cider, some lemon juice. It's already pre-made. So all you have to do is add your spirit of choice. You don't even have to get, the other ingredients. You just pour a little bit of this, add your spirit, and you're ready to go.
And you're done. Oh, that sounds perfect.
So that's our next venture into products, is kind of getting those mixers, our SKU of mixers ready to go. That's our project for this year.
I have an idea for you. I'm going to tell you offline. I have an idea for you.
Okay.
Not that you need my help, but I need your help. If you can do this idea, then that would help me. So I have an idea for you to help me.
See, the thing about entrepreneurship is I love the collaboration, right? I love working with not just brands, but other individuals that have unique things. And you may not know much about the mixology side. So maybe you need a little bit of that consultation for it. Totally okay with me.
No, I don't need anything. I don't even want to do it. I just want to give the idea to you. I want to see it done. I have no interest. I love making cocktails. This is my favorite thing. And I've always usually I'm the cocktail maker. If we have a party, or even if a friend has a party, I will make the cocktails. I don't mind. I really love it. My husband went to bartending school and he was transitioning jobs, but I don't I tend to not use measurements. I just count in my head and I know. And it's fantastic that way. But it is. So I do. I love this, and I have an idea for you. All right. Okay. So in addition to So Mixxy, you're also a brand ambassador for Uncle Nearest. Uncle Nearest. Here's my bottle of 1856. Uncle Nearest, here we are.
Out. I need to re-up on that one. I'm just going to put the bottles right here just to show, and then I'll move. These are the 3 expressions that we carry right now. But yes, I've been a brand ambassador with them for over a year now, going over a little bit over a year. And how I started with them is I've competed in maybe 4 or 5 cocktail competitions over the last couple years. And two of them were sponsored. Two of them were sponsored by Uncle Nearest. And so the Uncle Nearest rep, one of them I won. That was for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl at the end of 2022. So my cocktail was featured as the cocktail for the Peach Bowl that year for 2023.
Amazing. What was the cocktail, by the way?
It was called Peach Spice and Everything Nice, and it used the 1884 expression. We used some St. George's spice pear liqueur. I made a peach pear maple syrup. It used some lemon juice, and then it used a little bit of peach nectar in it. I garnished it with, I used these large ice cube balls. I infused the ice cube with thyme, like the herb thyme, and then I garnished it with a dehydrated peach. And then on the side of the glass, I had like gold glitter. It was super cute. It was, I'm very proud of it. That was a good one. But it was,
if you're here, I mean, I hope you're looking. This is all going to be on YouTube, but I just need y'all to see my face because I'm like, this sounds amazing. You are so extra. And I love it. I love it. Because
Virgo, like it has to be.
Yeah, and this is the difference between, and this is why I say I don't need to do this. Like, I'm an ideas person and you're executing beyond my wildest imagination. Oh my gosh, peach and spice and everything. Like, we should have made that, but peaches aren't in season right now. But guess they don't have to be. This sounds amazing, and I do want to taste it.
Yeah, I'll definitely make that for you.
I hope. I have another idea. Another idea just came to me. But so we've got two. So keep going.
So that one, being in that competition, brought attention to me from Uncle Nearest. So I won that one. And then I went into the finals for like a part of that. And the semifinals, we did another drink with Uncle Nearest. And I must say, I'm not sure if anyone knows who Tiffany Barrier or LP from Drink Masters. Tiffany Barrier is like the cocktail queen of Atlanta. She is a pioneer for Black women in this bartender space, mixologist space. Definitely a person worth knowing and Googling and understanding kind of her journey too. She was one of the judges for that competition.
Wow.
She is now my mentor. She saw something in me and grabbed me and was like, whatever you want to do, you can do it. And sometimes, I say this to say, sometimes you need that validation, right?
Yeah.
Just winning this award, I'm like, yay, I won. Her saying that to me brought it back to life. Yeah. Because now it's bringing this back, right? It's like, okay, Nicole Tucker's doing it. How do I get So Mixxy involved in all of this, right?
Yes.
Definitely. And again, it's connecting me to these brands, but also these people in the industry that can help bring you up, So that was huge. Go to the finals. I did another cocktail, and this one, it was called Bases Loaded. I think we still use the 84 for this one. I fat washed, and I'll explain what fat washing is, but I fat washed apple cider in Cracker Barrel popcorn. So basically, I soaked the popcorn to get some of that butter, that caramel to absorb into the apple cider. Use that. And then it also has like some salty components to it. Use that, some lemon juice. And then I use Frangelico, which is a hazelnut liqueur, to kind of get some of that nuttiness in it as well.
Yeah.
Put that over a large ice cube. And then I think on the glass of that one, I put like caramel and like sea salt on the side just to kind of tie in some of those notes. And that one won me the semifinals for that competition. So I think from there, Jay, who was the regional manager here, he was like, we need to work together. We need to have, you got some stuff going on over here. So after that, then he kind of brought me on. He introduced me, myself, and 4 others in the area. And we're brand ambassadors. We do trainings, we do events, we do tastings for Uncle Nearest. And I just want to talk about Uncle Nearest really quickly.
Please talk about Uncle Nearest. We have to.
Black women, this story of how Uncle Nearest came to be is so inspiring. Our CEO, Fawn Weaver, she was she's a New York bestselling author. She is a New York Times best-selling author before
Yes.
she even came into Uncle Nearest. She was doing some research, came across a photo of Jack Daniel
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a whole bunch of white men, but there was one black
One
man
black
sitting
man.
next to him,
Mm-hmm.
right next to him, right next to
Yep.
him,
And
right next to him.
you can find this photo on, if you just type in Uncle Nearest in images on Google, you'll be able to see this photo that she's talking about.
Yeah. And I keep repeating right next to,
Right
because
next to.
I don't
Huge.
think people understand how huge that is. And
Huge.
for her, that's exactly where her mind went. Like, who is this black man sitting in the center of this photo? Who is he?
All the way in the center, too. Very much in the center, surrounded by white folks, like shoulder to shoulder. It wasn't like get in the back in the corner and give us an inch or two, right? Shoulder to shoulder. Yes.
So she deep dive. She goes back to Tennessee. She's asking around. She hired a team of researchers to figure out so they can pinpoint the story. She figures out the story, and basically Uncle Nearest, Nathan Green is his formal name. He was a slave. He worked for Dan Call, who essentially brought on Jack Daniel as a kid and let him work on his distillery and on his field. But so Nearest Green worked for Dan Call, who was a reverend, and he was distilling whiskey. Nearest Green was the one that was overseeing. He was his master distiller. And to this day, he is known as the godfather of Tennessee whiskey, the first African-American master distiller on record. Okay, I want to put that out there.
Yes.
He was working for him. Dan Call tells Nearest Green, hey, I have this young kid. He's interested in learning more about the distillation process. Take him under your wing, show him some things, have him help you out. Years pass. Dan Call ends up selling his land and his distillery to Jack Daniel. Jack Daniel buys it. He brings Nearest Green on with him as his master distiller. Okay.
Wow.
Their families are like this. There was no, someone stole the recipe. There was no, he wasn't paid. He was still a slave. No. Nearest Green was actually paid for his services. His family was taken care of. Their families were blended to this day. Their descendants are best friends. You know what I mean? So the story is so rich in just like the value, the legacy, you know, all of that. And I get chills every time I hear the story, because just of the way Fawn discovered the story, worked with the family. She asked them, what do you guys want? You know, you can do a movie. Okay, that's fine. Like, we can put that together. I have the resources for that. They said they want his name on a bottle. And so from there, that is how they created the brand and getting all the liquid made for Uncle Nearest. So the story is just so incredible. And I encourage anyone who hasn't already, travel to Shelbyville, Tennessee, experience the distillery for yourself, go on the tour so that you can learn all of this. I'm not giving you every single detail, right? I'm giving you high points, but go and like really learn about Uncle Nearest and the way that the story came to life. And so now we have three main expressions. We have our rye, we have our 56. Both of those are 100 proof. And then we have our 1884. This is 93 proof. This one you're going to see most commonly like on your back bars, on your cocktail menus. This one, and so if you have this one, share this with everyone. Like if you have this at home, pour that up, no problem. The 56 is a little bit more premium. You're going to see this. You won't see this in every bar. You won't see this in every liquor store. It does have a higher price point to it. This is the one, if you have this at home, I would keep this tucked away and share it with like your special friends when they come in. But I wouldn't just, bring that one to the party and just let everyone have a free for all for that one.
Right.
And the rye is my personal favorite. I love a little bit of spice. And Dr. Tiffany, I know you like a little bit of spice. That rye is going to bring notes of that. So this is my favorite. I love this in mules. I love this in anything. Actually, we just did like a mimosa yesterday, and I used that expression in it.
In a mimosa?
Yeah, so we have a grown folks mimosa with Uncle Nearest, It's with the 1884 Grand Marnier orange juice, and then topped with champagne. So good, so good. But I did my own little remix, so I did the rye apple cider Grand Marnier and the champagne, and it was so good. I slept like a baby. I can't even deny. But yeah, so
I'm
being
not a
a brand
whiskey
ambassador,
drinker.
we have
I'm not a whiskey
56,
drinker.
You're not. Okay.
I'm not. But I'm down. I'm down. Uncle Nearest,
Okay.
I'm down.
So
It's Uncle Nearest,
we're
I'm
gonna
down.
make
I'm down.
today. We're gonna do an
Yes.
old fashioned, and we're gonna use the 56 for this one. If you are doing an old fashioned, I would recommend the 56. But again, you can use any of those expressions. I am going to grab we have a rocks glass, old fashioned rocks glass here.
Okay. So I have my stuff too. I'm gonna get my stuff together. Let me tell the audience what we're doing. So if you are listening, this is the point at which you might want to push pause and throw YouTube on, because this whole setup, the whole episode is going to be on YouTube, but you're going to want to follow along with us, see what we're using and all of that kind of stuff, and see Ty Nicole's beautiful face. So we are going to do 2 drinks. I told Ty ahead of the interview, like, my husband's favorite drink is an old fashioned. So she suggested that this is where we start. I personally am on a quest to learn how to make an espresso martini. So she's also going to teach me her version of an espresso martini using Uncle Nearest as well. So I'm super excited about that. Now, I have my rocks glass. What else do I need for this old fashioned?
Okay. I see you have a mixing tin. Do you want to stir it in there or make it in your glass?
It doesn't matter. You tell me what you want me to do. And that's what I'm going
to do.
We'll
use your mixing tin as a stir, but if anyone's at home.
Because I also have another glass. I also have another situation. I have another one here. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So we'll need a mixing glass. I'm using a clear mixing beaker. Only thing different is it's clear and it has a beaker for ease of pour. We will use a jigger. Jiggers look like 2 shot glasses molded together at the bottom. That's what we're going to measure out our ingredients with. We will need a strainer. Okay, this one is a Hawthorne strainer. Okay.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Hawthorne strainer. This is just the name of it. This is the style. So you can have, let's see, do I have, sometimes people have mesh strainers.
Oh, I got one of those too.
You don't need this
making
one,
me
but
so official. I feel so official. I have all the things.
When I do the classes, this is what I do. I go over all the tools, all the equipment, all the ingredients, so that you know what you're using.
I feel
you don't
so
just have
official.
to say, that thing, that thingy that you can have the terminology. So yeah, this is a Hawthorne strainer. We will also use our bar spoon. You use a bar spoon for stirring the cocktail. This one with the old fashioned, we're going to be stirring, okay? With our espresso martini, we are going to shake that one. So I'm going to tell you what to grab in case everyone's grabbing everything just at one time. For our espresso martini, I'm going to use a mixing tin with a glass, okay? Yours is perfect, Dr. Tiff, in that corner.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yours is called a cobbler style. It has 3 pieces. It has a built-in strainer at the top. So that's the difference. Perfect. This style is called a Boston style mixing tin. So usually it can be 2 parts that's metal, 1 part glass, 1 part metal, either or, but it fits on just like that. And instead of having 3 pieces, you shake with just the 2. Okay.
I feel like this is like at home bar. You see this more, but like in restaurants when they're shaking, it's that.
Sure, for sure. I prefer this style just because I don't like the top, the built-in strainer. It's always just a little funny for me. I prefer to use like one like this. But a lot of my clients have the at-home bartender. We sell the at-home bar set like that, so no problem at all.
Just get in where you fit in.
Exactly. And I have a peeler here. You have a peeler, Dr. Tiff?
Of course.
Okay, we have a peeler. We are going to do an orange peel for our old fashioned. And I believe that is all the bar equipment for our old fashioned. I'm going to use an old fashioned rocks glass. Okay. And then for our espresso martini, I'm going to use a coupe glass. You could use a martini glass.
Right there. I have to get me a coupe glass. I have to get a set of coupe glasses. I'm going to use this one today. Just a little
Okay.
short
Yeah.
situation. Crate and
Perfect.
barrel. Yes.
You can use martini glass. You can use coupe glass. Those two are usually interchangeable. So you are
Yeah.
right on there. Now let me go over the ingredients. You will need some ice for both of these. For the old
Got it.
fashioned, I have a large ice cube here, a king cube. I'm going to be using that to serve the drink. Okay. For our old fashioned, super easy, 3 ingredients. That's it. We're going to use our bourbon or whiskey of choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to use some bitters, Angostura. I like regular Angostura and orange Angostura. If you just have one, that's totally okay.
Use
This
one.
is just the way that I make mine, not a problem. And then we are going to use some of our So Mixxy cinnamon demerara for ours. But I did tell Dr. Tiff how to make her syrup over there. I'm going to send her a special kit so she can have some. Yes, perfect. So I'll talk
I
about
did
why
my
we're using.
homework, Ty Nicole. I
Yeah.
did my homework. Just so you know, I got all my things.
I'm going to talk about why we're using demerara once we get into the demonstration and explain that. And then for our garnish, we're going to use an orange peel and some cherries. I have some Luxardo cherries here. Got some cherries? Perfect. Perfect. Now for our espresso martini, we'll still use some of that Uncle Nearest. We're going to use some coffee liqueur. All right. We'll use some of that.
I brought a
Kahlua.
little. Yeah. Yeah.
Kahlua is perfect. We'll use some of that So Mixxy demerara, cinnamon demerara.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to use some cold brew coffee or espresso.
Yeah. I stopped, just so you guys know. I went to the Target yesterday and got an espresso situation here. And the reason why I was looking for Black and Bold, they're the Black owned kind of coffee brand in Target. My particular Target, they don't carry it anymore. They don't carry their cold brew, and that was the one that I wanted. But the reason why I got this one instead of another kind is this one is plain, it's black, sweet. And when you look on the ingredients, this part is important. It's brewed espresso and water. Those are the only 2 ingredients in there. So I guess you could do this with flavors, but I didn't want too much in there because I didn't want it to compete with what else we were doing with the drink. So,
and you're spot on with that. I usually get like just a regular plain blackened, or not blackened, but black espresso cold brew, just because you can get the other ones sometimes. They can be a little bit more creamier, and I don't really care for the creamy. Like some people like Bailey's in their espresso martinis. I personally don't. It's good. I've had it. That's just not my preference.
If that's what you want, it's fine.
Yeah, correct. Actually, the cold brew I'm using is Starbucks, but it's a caramel, so that has a little. Ooh. I like that. That's fine. But I also brewed it at home myself, so it's nothing really else in it. But let's get to it. So what we are going to do, you're going to grab your mixing device, whatever you are going to be stirring your cocktail in, and we're going to grab our Uncle Nearest. We're using the 1856, which again is one of the 100 proof. And did I mention that Uncle Nearest is the most awarded bourbon 5 years in a row?
No, that's amazing.
And we are also a female owned and led company. So our CEO, our master distiller, who is a direct descendant from Uncle Nearest or from Nathan Green. My gosh. She is a Black woman as well. So we have 2. We have a e-board.
This story keeps getting better and better. I love hearing that.
So we are going to add in 2 ounces of our Uncle Nearest 1856.
So one of these is 1 ounce.
No. That top, the longer part is 2 ounces. I was just going to say. Yours is 2 ounces. Fill that to the top. Yep. Your opposite side is going to be 1 ounce. And just a quick note on using this is called a Japanese jigger. What I love about the Japanese jigger is that it has the markings inside where you can see where your 1.5 ounce is. On the shorter side, you can see where your half ounce or even your 3/4 ounce is as well.
Okay. I think that was 1.5. I think that was 1.5. That's what I was looking at. Yeah, I think that's what I saw. Let me look. I don't have a reader zone.
Does it have a line? Do you have a line?
Yeah, it does
on
have
the
a
inside?
line. And that line says 1.5. Yeah. That line says 1.5. I didn't go. I didn't go all the way up to 2.
Okay. So
Yeah,
then
so
all you'll
I'm gonna
need,
add
if
some.
you want, on the shorter side, since this is 1 ounce,
Yeah.
fill that up a quarter way. I mean
Okay. Yeah,
halfway.
halfway. I
Sorry.
see it.
Yes.
Yeah, I see it on the other side.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. There we go. Look at me, a whole bartender. Okay. 2 ounces.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Now we're gonna grab our demerara syrup. Okay.
Okay.
Demerara syrup is basically like a brown sugar syrup. And what I like about that, especially when you're using like your bourbon, your reposado tequilas, your scotch, your cognacs, that demerara, that brown sugar, is going to bring a lot of that age in that barrel and those warm notes that usually those aged spirits have. So this bourbon,
Mm-hmm.
it's been aged, right, in our barrels. It has notes of caramel, vanilla, oak, right? This is what
Mm-hmm.
that demerara is going to help to
Mm-hmm.
enhance and bring out. So we're going to add a
Okay.
half an ounce of our syrup. Simple syrup also works. That's using white sugar as the base for that. It just sometimes can be a little bit thin. And so that
Okay.
brown sugar just gives it
Yeah.
more character, more flavor.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have 2
Mm-hmm.
ounces of our Uncle Nearest, half an ounce of our So Mixxy demerara. And now we're
Mm-hmm.
going to grab our bitters. And I
Okay.
like mine in these, so I'm just going to use these. I have my regular Angostura and my orange Angostura. And all we're going to do, we're going to add 2 to 3 dashes of each. And so when I say dashes, 1, 2, 3, just like that. Okay. Yep. Perfect.
Added
Now,
a little more because I didn't have the 2 different ones.
no, that's fine. I
Okay.
always encourage you, add more bitters. Bitters is
Okay.
going to give
Add
you
more
way
bitters.
more flavor to that cocktail for sure. Don't
Okay.
be shy with it. All right.
Don't be
So
shy with
now
the
let's
bitters.
grab
Okay.
We're going to grab some of our ice and add it into our mixing glass. Now, rule of thumb for adding ice, you do not need to fill your glass with your mixing tin all the way to the top. I usually just like to add enough ice that it covers the amount of mixture inside.
Oh, that's
Okay.
smart. Okay.
And
Because,
even in your
I'd be
mixing tin, yeah, people will use
all the way up.
you use all your ice on one, and then now you're out of ice so quickly. So yeah, you don't need to do
Right.
that.
Right. Got it. Okay. All right.
All right, now we're going to grab our bar spoon and we
Mm-hmm.
are going to stir just like that. Yep. Now the purpose of stirring is to dilute the cocktail, but not
Mm-hmm.
bruise the spirit. Okay. And what I mean by
You
that is
don't
when
want to
we
bruise the
shake
spirit.
no, we just want to stir it just to dilute it a bit. Okay.
That smells delicious. Wait a minute.
Huh?
Just
Mm-hmm.
stirring it. Those are different notes than what I smelled when I just like put it.
You smell
That's
because
delightful.
water opens up the spirit. So even if you're doing a tasting, we encourage you to just add a little bit of water. After you've smelled it, add a little bit of water. That's going to open it up a lot more.
Wow.
And then you're going to be able to kind of identify a lot of those characteristics to the spirit.
Yes. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
felt something. I'm feeling like a fruity note too. Like I don't know what that
Ooh.
is. Maybe it's the. I mean, it's beautiful. I love it. Like, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Don't get me started.
Bitters is made with spices and herbs, so that might be what you're smelling also.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
So I'm adding
All
my
right.
large king cube.
All right. So
Okay.
my king cube is in the freezer. I'm not doing that today. I'm just gonna add some cubes in the bottom. Okay.
If I use regular ice cubes, I may add like 1 or 2, depending on who I'm serving. If you're serving an
Mm-hmm.
old fashioned, those folks really don't care for that much ice anyway. So
That's
I give
true.
them a little,
Absolutely.
and
You're right.
I do encourage using a large cube more often than not for this because it dilutes a lot slower than your regular ice cube.
Got
Totally
it.
okay to use
Yeah.
regular,
I'm gonna
but
leave
it
those
does
open.
the large ice cube.
Okay.
So we have our strainer. We put our Hawthorne
Okay.
strainer on. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then we're going to strain our mixture
I don't know,
over.
the holding of the thing. I feel like, okay, there we go.
And you see, I just had to just give it, this is a lot heavier than my mixing tin. So,
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
Oh, oh, oh.
Looks so good. All right,
It
now we're
does.
going to
It does. I'm excited.
garnish it. I'm
Put
going to
this
take
over here.
my orange. I'm just going to do a cute little peel. On our next class, I'll teach you how to like do a cute design, but right now we're just
Okay.
gonna
Next time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me
And
get
we're
a
gonna
little peel. How long of a peel
yep.
did you do?
I usually just go from the top, the seed. I mean, not the seed. Yeah, the pit to the pit.
Oh, well, I don't know if I
That's
did
a nice
that.
size.
Okay. Here we go.
All right. Now you're
We'll
gonna
smell
take it,
taste. Yes.
facing your glass, and
With
we're gonna
do that.
squeeze it right over your glass.
Which
Okay.
side? The
The
white side or
orange
the?
peel. No.
Okay.
Yep, the peel, the exterior, and just
Okay.
squeeze it. And do you see those oils that just kind of jump into your glass
Yes.
when you squeeze? That's the oil from the orange. Okay, that's your citrus. You're gonna take this now and run it around the rim of your cocktail glass. What is that doing? That's giving you some of that citrus flavor. That's the first thing that's gonna jump off before you even take a sip. This is the first thing that you're going to smell before you take a sip of that. Okay.
Okay. And I'll just put
So
the
we
rest of
like,
it in.
yep, you can just drop it right in. Drop it right on
Ooh.
the side. Yep. Now we're going to grab our cherries. Can I
I
open
feel
this?
so grown up. This is such a grown up drink.
It is. This is for your mature crowds for sure.
It's so
We're
grown.
gonna I'm gonna grab a couple cherries, and I did not grab tongs, so I'm gonna skewer 3 cherries. You can just do one, you can do two, whatever you prefer.
I'm gonna get 3. You said 3. That's what we're
Yeah,
doing. Well, who am I
that's
kidding? I'm probably gonna do 2.
real.
I'll do
All
3. You
right.
said 3. I'll do 3. There we
I
go.
love cherries. I love a brandy cherry. All right, we have them skewered. Now you can just leave it right across. You can drop it in, whichever you prefer. I like to just drop mine in just to kind of
You
soak
do.
in. Yeah, just
Ooh,
to
soak
soak
in some of
in.
that.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, let me do that
Okay.
then. I'm doing what you do.
And I'm going to turn it so they can see. Look, with both. That's on the front side. And then if you just want to look at it on the back side,
I love it.
beautiful.
Okay, now we have to taste. Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers. Okay, let's taste this thing.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Listen, I'm getting lucky tonight. This is delicious. This is so yummy. You know what? This is a really yummy drink. It is a really yummy drink. But you know what I'm thinking? I don't know what these are called. I know there's a Spanish name for this, but a big hunk of gelato, like vanilla gelato in the middle of this, I would
Mm.
love.
Mm.
So
Now you know
good.
Uncle Nearest has a partnership with Jenny's Ice Cream, and we have a hot
No,
toddy one. Yeah, we have a hot
put a
toddy
scoop
one.
of Jenny's in this.
Yeah, I can't remember the name
Fantastic.
of the other one, but yeah, we have 2 of them out right now.
Oh, this is delicious. This is really good. And I seriously, I don't really do brown liquor. We don't know what that does to me.
Yeah.
Or perhaps we do. But this is good. This is really good.
And so I'm gonna send you the cinnamon so you can taste it with the cinnamon. Sometimes what I'll do, if you want to like smoke your glass or something, you can do that. Smoke some cinnamon to give kind of like that essence of the cinnamon that pairs with the
Yes.
syrup and stuff. So again, all a part of the mix kit, all a part of the instructions and the recipes and things like that. But yes, we have a good time over here.
This is a good sipper. Like
Yeah,
if
for
you
sure.
want,
Your old
yes,
fashions are sippers.
especially if you have that big piece of ice. I could see doing one if you're someone who, because I'm gonna be honest. So when I have my cocktails, I'm usually drinking wine, and it's so easy with wine to just knock back several glasses because you're drinking them so fast. And if you're someone who wants to slow down and savor your drinks a little bit more, I feel like this is the perfect drink to do that because you're not going to take big gulps. You're going to sip it, and it's just so, it is
Absolutely.
divine.
Yeah. And so that is one thing that I
Oh,
wanted
shout out to
to,
Uncle Nearest.
yeah, the liquid is really, really good. But that is one thing that I wanted to do with So Mixxy is show people how to make these amazing craft cocktails that you would spend
Mm-hmm.
upwards of $18 to $20 for in a bar.
Right.
Show
Right.
people how to make those at home in the comfort of your own home using ingredients that you have at home. You
Absolutely.
know,
Yeah. No, for
and,
real.
and,
Because I
and so
think,
just kind of like bringing that out.
yeah, and even with the syrup, I think what I'm going to do, what I would do next time when I make the syrup is I'm going to take your note on the cinnamon, but I'm just going to go ahead and drop the cinnamon stick in there while I'm cooking, and then also just leave it in there to infuse more of that cinnamon flavor in there. Because I think that's the thing. I think that the reason why this is yummy is the brown sugar syrup as opposed to a white simple syrup. Brown sugar makes everything better. But then like adding a little bit of cinnamon to that would like take it up a
Say
whole
that
nother level.
away my secret, so I couldn't say
Yeah,
it.
no. I'm
But
sorry I said
ultimately,
it.
no. But ultimately, that's how I started my business is playing around with those syrups.
Yeah,
So we have some
I
other
love that.
ingredients in ours I won't disclose, but
Yeah,
yeah, I'll
yeah.
definitely.
No,
But yeah,
no, 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 no,
but
no.
you're on the right track, Dr. Tip. You're on the right track.
Okay,
I love
okay. Listen. I'm picking up what you're laying down. All right, let's move on to
it.
my espresso martini because that is what I want to be known for in 2024. Pouring a proper and delicious espresso martini. What do we need? What do I need to do?
So now you're going to grab your other mixing tin set over there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And for this one, a couple of the same ingredients. We'll use our 56 for this one. We are going to
Okay.
add in 1.5 ounces of the
Okay.
56. Actually, I'm
So I
going
can
to
go.
switch over to the for this one. So,
I'm just jealous about this ride. Now I feel like I should have got some.
so
Okay,
I think you would really
1.5.
like it.
I think I
1.5
would
of the
too, just
rye.
hearing you talk about it. Okay, 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
My husband's gonna come
Okay.
home and be like, "Why are all these glasses? Like, what is all of this?" And there's no cocktail. What is going on? Okay, 1.5 of the Uncle Nearest 1856. Yes.
Now go ahead and grab your coffee liqueur.
Okay.
And she's using Kahlua. Kahlua is rum based. Okay, so there's a
Right.
lot of different types of coffee couleurs out there. Coffee couleurs.
Cooler.
There's liqueurs out there. Kahlua is rum based. The one I usually, because I don't really like mixing certain things a lot of the time, I'm using just a regular coffee liqueur, no other spirits like infused with it. This
Yeah.
is similar to like a Grand Marnier. Grand Marnier is a triple sec or orange liqueur. The Grand Marnier is infused with cognac. So it's like Cointreau and Hennessy had a baby and named it Grand Marnier. That would be like, so just showing you some of like when you're shopping
Yes.
for spirits, pay attention
Yes.
to those things too. All right,
All
so
right.
we are going to add in 3/4 of an ounce of our coffee liqueur.
Okay. Let me figure out where that is, Chef. Okay, I see it. 3/4. All right.
And that liqueur is also going to be a sweetener too. So I say that because when we get to adding our syrup, which is going to be next, depending on which coffee liqueur you're using, you might want to consider using less. This is where you kind of are the judge of how sweet you want your cocktail to be. Okay.
Okay.
So my recommendation is to use a 1/2 ounce of that brown sugar syrup, that demerara.
1/2 ounce. Okay.
1/2 ounce.
Starting with a 1/2 ounce. If I wanted it to be sweeter, I would add more. If it turns out to be too sweet, then I know next time I need to add less.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And this is for any of your cocktails. If like for your margarita, I am a tart girl. I love
Me
more lime juice
too.
than I do agave.
Me
So I
too. I don't
usually,
even put it. I don't even put
oh,
anything.
you like the skin?
Yes, absolutely. I
Okay.
ask for that all the time because I feel like when they start with the sweet and sours and like it just gets too sweet. So I'm
Yep.
typically just my tequila and Cointreau and lime juice, and I'm
Yep.
done. Done.
And you see that
Don't need
Cointreau
anything
has
else.
that sweetness already a
That's
little because it's a
enough.
liqueur.
Yeah, you don't need anything else. You don't need anything else.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So we
All
have
right.
1.5 ounces of our spirit, 3/4 of an ounce of our coffee liqueur, half an ounce of our demerara syrup. Now let's
Yes.
grab our coffee. We are going to add 1 ounce. We're going to add 1 ounce.
1 ounce of coffee. Okay. Okay, this is 1.5. Okay, so I'm just gonna do two. Yeah.
Side. Yep.
Yeah. Or okay, that's a half. Now I'll just do another half. Fantastic. Okay.
All right.
This is
and now go ahead, once you have all of those ingredients, let's add some ice.
All right. Let's get me some more ice.
That's a perfect amount. And now you're going to go ahead and shake it up. Now, shake this one a lot longer, so you're going to do at least 15 seconds of shaking. You do want to have some good froth because we love that froth on top of our espresso martini.
So is that the purpose for shaking rather than stirring, that we want to get that froth on there?
No, when you're shaking, the rule of thumb is that you're shaking any cocktail that has citrus ingredients in it or juices and things like that, because you really want them to mix and integrate with the spirit. So your margaritas need to be shaken because you have a syrup, you have the spirit, you have your citrus in there. You want to make sure that all of those ingredients are nice and well mixed and chilled too. The froth is just something that naturally comes with it. And because we're shaking it with that espresso, that's what helps our foam to be even thicker. So that's where that comes from.
All right. Ready?
I'm going to shake it. This is my part, y'all. I got this.
I'm trying my best here.
And you can use 2 hands. You can use 1 hand.
I can't use one hand. I can't do one hand. This is we don't mean this to be sexual. We don't. No.
I've worked with bartenders and they have the most sexual shakes ever. But it looks so darn good on the other side of the bar. All right. So we have some foam there. We're going to grab our strainer.
Oh, we're going to I did have a straining thing on here. I was like,
yours is...
Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, I got a lot of foam. I feel good about myself. Okay, great. I did.
My God. All right. And so now our garnish.
Okay, I'm doing a little something different.
Instead of the espresso beans?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're doing espresso beans for your garnish. I didn't feel like buying espresso beans. So what I'm doing is I'm going to shave a little dark chocolate on top. Because I felt like that might be, I felt like it might be cute.
Yeah. You could also do nutmeg, grated nutmeg, grated cinnamon, ground cinnamon.
Oh, yes.
Ground coffee, and just do it on one side too.
Oh, yeah. I like that idea. This is, it looks amazing. I love that. Okay.
All right. And so this is our espresso martini featuring our Uncle Nearest. Cheers.
All right.
Oh, that's perfect. Wow.
That's yummy. The chocolate is so good.
And I forgot that I used caramel coffee. And that's really nice. That's really nice.
I need to tell you something.
Okay.
I was very skeptical about using this for my espresso martini. I really didn't think. Yes, I was. I thought like I need to do vodka.
Oh no. From a non-vodka drinker, no. Vodka will be the last thing. Really? 2 things. My first espresso martini, because I don't like vodka, was using a peanut butter whiskey called Screwball peanut butter whiskey. The most amazing, hands down, espresso martini I've ever had. From there, I've played with tequila, I've played with, of course, gin. I've played with rum, a spiced rum. So good. So I say that to say, get comfortable getting uncomfortable, playing and experimenting with your different spirits in these different recipes. Whenever I order a lemon drop, tequila lemon drop me, please. Like I do not even try for vodka any longer. But I also just vodka reminds me of my college days, and no, I just can't do it anymore.
Too grown. I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah, been there, done that. Yeah. Can't go back to that.
I never, ever would have thought about doing a whiskey with. This is blowing my mind how delicious this is, and smooth, and just like, because here's the thing, this is what I want. This selfishly, what I wanted you to do for me is to provide an experience where I could tell my husband, like, so this whole season of Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff is about, all of our episodes are kind of falling under two pillars: relationship enhancement and intentional self-care. I feel like the drink experience gives us a little bit of both. This is a way to unwind with our partner and also connect with them as well. So I'm thinking like, okay, Jason comes home. He needs to relax a little bit. Sit down, baby. I got you. Get the Uncle Nearest. Do his old fashioned. Have a delicious dinner. And then the espresso martini for dessert, because we're not going to sleep. No.
Right. You need to be up, okay?
We got a little activity. So we're going to need this espresso martini so you can keep up. This is delicious. I would do this. This is a perfect sipping after dinner. Like, let's have an espresso martini after dinner. Because it's very, especially with the chocolate shavings, like I feel like it gives that little bit of like cocoa for dessert. It's like a dessert feeling. Yep. But again, it's because it's Uncle Nearest, because it's this high quality. I'm sipping this. I'm not guzzling it down. It's perfect.
Absolutely. And what I will also say is these drinks go perfectly, especially with the Uncle Nearest one, especially the being the espresso martini, because when we're aging that liquid, you're getting notes of coffee, of chocolate. Sometimes, depending which one, a little bit of cherry from the wood. Yes. You know what I mean? So that's what kind of it's giving the drink a lot more substance than your vodka, which is solely going to pick up what you're putting into it and what you're mixing with it, because vodka is a very mutable spirit. These drinks are enhancing the liquid that we're using with it.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm glad see why I am. I'm enjoying them immensely. You guys see why I like instantly gravitated towards this human and said, I want more of whatever it is, whatever you're throwing down, I'm picking up. I needed this moment. You have elevated my cocktail game for 2024. And I think that you can totally do the same for our people. So if you guys are interested in learning more about So Mixxy, follow her. Follow Nicole Tucker on Instagram at Nicole Tucker. Also follow So Mixxy, SOMIXXY. Follow So Mixxy on Instagram. Ty has been doing some amazing cocktails over the Christmas season. I imagine you're going to have some wonderful things. I'm not sure. I think your episode is going to come out right after Valentine's Day, but it'll be right around. We still doing the love thing. So these are perfect. I feel like this is a great date night combo. You cannot go wrong with this. So date night is every night as far as I'm concerned. So definitely reach out to Ty. Your next virtual event, couples event, singles event, Galentine's, corporate event, whatever, birthday party, whatever. Even if, listen, the pandemic ain't on, but COVID is still here. If you don't want having folks at your house, virtual event, So Mixxy. Holler at your girl. She's available. The drinks are great, and she is beautiful. Thank you so much, Nicole, for being here on Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff.
Absolute pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine. You guys drink responsibly. Uncle Nearest is available wherever you get your spirits. If they don't have it, please ask them for it. Ask them for the 1856. Ask them for the rye, because they didn't have the rye when I went to the store. But my local shop, I know, will go order it for me if I ask for it. But definitely ask for Uncle Nearest. A beautiful story about a beautiful history of Uncle Nearest and how this brand came to be. We need to support Black women, and this is one way that we can support Black history, Black women, Black people, and our culture all in the bottle. So thank you so much for bringing, educating us, Ty Nicole, on everything that you've been doing, including your brand ambassadorship with Uncle Nearest. We appreciate you. And I appreciate you, our listeners, for joining us today on Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff. You can like, comment, share, subscribe this episode and all of the others for that matter. You can listen wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can watch this episode on YouTube. So definitely go on over to YouTube, because if you listened, you only got half the story. You need to see these cocktails. You need to see the deliciousness. You need to see Nicole Tucker, okay? You need to see her in all of her glory in her beautiful So Mixxy sweatshirt. So yes, please go over to YouTube and look at the podcast, learn how to make these drinks, make them with us. This is a community that we're building over here, and continue to be great. Continue to enhance those relationships and continue to be very intentional about your self-care, because I absolutely am. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I'll see you next week. Ciao.